Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badaraganam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Apyayantu mamangani Vakpranaschakshushrotramatho balami Ani cha sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakaro Anirakaranamastva Nirakaranam me astu Tadatmani Nirateya Upanishatsu Dharmaste Mayi Santu Te Mayi Santu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jagat Karanam Sat iti praptam. We talk about the causality. The causality we have to understand is as though. The as though causality for this which is called Sat. And what is this Sat? You. That is what we have to understand. That is where we have to go. And so we saw the definition of Sat, Abadhitam Sat and Trikale Pitishtati iti Sat. Abadhitam, non-negatable. Don't worry about Sanskrit because every Sanskrit word is translated. Non-negatable is Sat, and then Trikale Pitishtati means that which is there in all three periods of time. What is that? Sat. So Sat, which cannot be denied. And how do I know it is me? Because I cannot deny myself. That is how I know. And Sat, which is the same in all three periods of time. And here I can't directly see that. Why? Because I have a birthday. I was born on a particular day. And then what? Then there is an expiration date. I don't know when I will go, but then somebody else will say on the gravestone, a very grave matter. What will the gravestone say? Something, dash, some other date. So 2 dates in between, there will be a dash on the gravestone. 3 jobs, 4 children, 5 marriages, all in that. In that dash. So much is included in that dash. And so, this is where the rub comes. This is where there is difficulty in accepting this, because self-evident nobody has a problem. I know I am self-evident because I cannot negate myself, I cannot deny myself. Theek hai, it's okay, fine, I can understand this much. But to be asked to go a step further and abide as the, or see the truth of the, what? The second definition of Sat. What is the second definition? That which is unchanged in all three periods of time. This is not achievable. Even the models that we see on the runway, who don't seem to age at all, and they are also like that with the help of bottles. Yes, bottles. with the help of potions for every notion they have about themselves. Yeah. All kinds of notions, potions and all keep these models and celebrities going. That's how it is. There is an expression, avichara sundaraha, means it looks very beautiful. Something looks very beautiful so long as you don't inquire into it. Like the celebrity you see in the TV or somewhere far away. Then when you inquire, you find what? Skin without being skin. It is some other thing. Hair without being hair. It's a wig. Okay? And then what else? And then we have all the other example, teeth without being teeth. It is some kind of a veneer that is put so that it looks all white and gleam, making one confused whether the teeth have become flashlights. And then, and then in our own experience we see, as we grow older, all the original body parts are quickly replaced. And surgery, what kind of surgery? Knee surgery, hip surgery, shoulder surgery, everything replaceable. Teeth, we don't call it surgery, you just get a new set of teeth, that's all. Or something else is called implants or dentures or whatever it is. Teeth without being teeth. One good thing is they cannot replace the mind. That they have not done that. So, this, what we take to be the I, like the model on the runway, is avichara sundaraha. It looks intact. Who am I? The owner of this body, mind, sense complex. So and so, who is and I know my pecking order. I am the second child, I am the first child, I am the last child, whatever the pecking order is. So and so, parentage, such and such clan, such and such family, such and such place of birth, such and such time of birth. This is where the problem is. Because the question always comes, and I am trying to preempt it in the satsang tonight. And what is the question? The question is, if everything is Sat, how come I don't see it? How come I don't experience that I am Brahman? That's because one doesn't know. One doesn't know. Like the co-passenger of Swamiji, in this small flight from Delhi to Dehradun, it was there. It had been just launched about 20 years ago. It was still a private flight. It was just a small 10-seater flight. And it would come. And then was this large gentleman from Australia sitting next to Swamiji. He was so big that he was practically in Swamiji's lap. He had to take away what is that called? That handle between the two seats. He had to put it up because otherwise he would have been crushed, poor fellow. And so he sat there and he took it all in as the plane flew. And he said, okay, somebody in orange, he's a Swami, he knew that much. And then with great difficulty took out a piece of paper in the pocket. You're going to Rishikesh? You're in Rishikesh? Yes, I'm based in Rishikesh. You know, I am also going to see a Swami. In fact, I don't know where he lives. This is his name. And the piece of paper said, Swami Dayananda. Was he experiencing Swami Dayananda or not? Who said no? Yeah. Was he experiencing him or not? Was he talking to him or not? Isn't talking a form of experience? Yes. He was talking to him. He was interacting with him. And whether he was experiencing Swamiji or not, Swamiji was experiencing him. Okay? Because he was practically sitting in Swamiji's lap. Still, do you know this Swami? Correct? This Swami, whose name is Swami Dayananda. Swamiji could have given him a surprise and said, yes, please come. I don't know him, but please come. And then he could have been there and given him a surprise. Or he could say that Tat Deshakala Vishishta Dayanandaha, that you Vindati, that you are searching for, that Dayananda, which is in this piece of paper, which you are searching for, is indeed what? This Dayananda. So it's just an amazing teaching here. And so, as I have told you, the word that is referred to what? Sat, Jagat Karanam Brahma. That always is the cause of the universe, Brahman Sat. And this is what? Jagat. This body, this mind, Prakritam, that which I can objectify is called this. And if this much is known, we also know from our experience that the pronouns that and this cannot be used for the same object in the same sentence. Can I say this pot is that pot? What kind of a sentence is it? Makes no sense. I mean, it's a sentence, all right, but it makes no sense. A sentence should make sense. Here when I say this pot is what? That pot. No sense at all it makes. But here it makes sense. Why? Because the that in the sentence is the same as the this. But then why is it referred to as that? Because it is unknown or wrongly understood. Even better. If it was unknown, it can be known. But it is wrongly understood. So the word tat is wrongly understood as removed, remote, far away from me, nothing to do with me. And then it is correctly understood in the light of the Shastra as this. This Atma, this I alone is that Brahman. So then the words that and this are expendable because they refer to one and the same thing. So therefore, Sat is not understood not because it is separate from me by way of time or place, but because of self-ignorance. Ajnanam, agrahanam, and then which leads to what? Anyatha grahanam. Ajnanam is not the problem really. By itself, ajnanam cannot do anything. Because every single being in the world has ajnanam, starting with a tree outside. The tree also has ajnanam. So, this tree has ajnanam. Which tree? The tree that was spoken of in the early morning class. Jambu vriksham. This vriksha has what? Ajnanam. But it doesn't have, it has agrahanam. It doesn't know I am Sat. It doesn't know Tattvam Asi. It doesn't know all these Mahavakyas. It doesn't know the meaning of the word Upanishad. But then it doesn't have Anyatha Grahanam in the sense of a complex centered on itself. It doesn't have wrong knowledge. What is wrong knowledge? I don't like myself. Wrong knowledge. I wish I was somebody else. Wrong knowledge. Wrong knowledge. And this wrong knowledge, it doesn't have. It doesn't say, I wish I were a mango tree, because the mango tree has more importance. I'm a common jamun. Only diabetics are interested in me, because supposedly you grind the seed and make it into a powder and it reduces blood sugar if it is not too elevated. So only diabetics are interested in me. I want to be the king of fruits. I want to be the national fruit of India. It doesn't think like that. It doesn't have a complex centered on itself. And also, what is this mountain view, river view? I'm taking myself off to the ocean. I'm going to Mumbai. I'm going to Goa. Even more exotic. Yeah. Doesn't say that. I need a vacation. What is this all the time stuck in an ashram? I never asked to be an ashram tree. I want to be part of the world. I'm sick of seeing people in white, talking to themselves. And so I want something else. Have you ever seen a tree say that? No. It is happy being what it is. If it is not felled, if it is allowed to grow, if it is allowed to reproduce and die a natural death, it is happy being what it is. Something happens in the human birth, I tell you. It's all upside down. It's all upside down. Upside down vision of division, upside down priorities of going for the finite and hoping somehow, someday it will become infinite. Everything is upside down. Upside down notions. Why? That is because self-consciousness, even though all beings have, even the tree to a certain extent has self-awareness, there is a gradation in the, not in self-awareness, not in the sat that is there in the name and form called tree and the name and form called dog and the name and form called human being. Not there is no gradation of sat. There is a gradation of manifestation. Do you understand? Now, it's supposing like the sunlight is coming. Let's say you have a small round-shaped aperture. How much sunlight can come? Little bit. Then you have a bigger aperture. Then the sunlight comes in the same shape of the aperture. Then you have a big window, glass window. And then you have the sunlight coming in uninhibited into the room. Similarly, the upadhi bhedat. Upadhi means like this pot has a pot upadhi. Upadhi means the shape and the container in which it comes. This pot also has upadhi. This pot, big pot upadhi. This pot, small pot upadhi. And that because of the difference in upadhi, difference in the body mind sense complex, we take that difference to be real, and therefore there is suffering, needless suffering. Therefore there is suffering. So, to go back to the light and the apertures, the light enters in the form of the aperture. If the aperture is small and square, it will come in a square shape. If it is large and round, it will come in a round shape. If the windows or these big glass doors are rectangular, the sunlight will stream in a rectangular shape. So big, small, all these, can you say the sunlight suddenly became small because you see a small ray of the sun coming in through a small aperture? Please show me at least one sign of life. No. And if there is, you open the big doors and let the sunlight flow in, do you say the sunlight has now become big? No. Similarly, this Sat, the all-knowing Sat, Chit, Ananda, does not, there is no gradation in manifestation in all the beings. It looks like a gradation. The self-awareness is manifest, that awareness is uniformly manifest, but it looks like a gradation because of the shape and the size and the form in which it is manifest. Just like the sunlight being reflected in a small pot of water, what will you see? A tiny baby sun. Then you put a big pot of water or you look at it directly in the river, you see a big sun. The sun is neither big nor small, and it's the same across all the places where the sunlight is. In the same manner, just as it is like that, so too it is with Sat. There is no gradation of Sat. In the human being there is more Sat, in the tree there is less Sat. No. The Upadhi means a name and form which lends its existence to whatever it staying with near something. It lends its dharma to something else. It lends its attribute to something else. That is Upadhi. Upa samipe sthitva swadharmaha anyatra adatte. It lends its, or it throws its attributes on to something else. The classic example is that of a crystal. And then you put some green cloth behind the crystal, and then what happens? The whole crystal now looks like a garden, like a lawn. Green. So the green color becomes the upadhi for the crystal, which appears to be green without really becoming green. Then you put red cloth, then it appears to be red without really being red, because the crystal has no particular upadhi of its own. Does it have color? No. Does it have size? It may have a size, but really speaking, it has no size, no color, no attributes. That which is free, the closest thing we have, which is free of attributes, is nothing but the crystal, the example of the crystal. Closest to free of attributes, free of form, free of name is the crystal, and to that crystal you put some color cloth. Or the classic example is you put a red hibiscus flower, and then the crystal is painted, as it were, red without really taking on that redness. It just pretends to be red, as it were, without really taking on the attributes of the flower, the color, the shape, the size, etc. It appears to be finite without really becoming so. So too, the same Sat manifest in all names and forms is Sat alone. There is no gradation. But Sat, like the crystal, has no name, no form, no shape, no color, no size, no attribute. Chaitanya Swarupa, Shuddha Chaitanya Swarupa. Shuddha means free of attributes, in the form of pure sentience, free of attributes. So that limitless Sat Chit Ananda, when it as though enters the body of a small Kita worm, it will behave exactly how the name and form behaves. The name and form is programmed to crawl. The earthworm is programmed to crawl. It is also programmed to dig. Those two things the earthworm does. And that is what it does. What? Sat digs in as a worm. Sat sways in the breeze in the form of a tree. Sat sits regally like a rock on the wayside. Or there are also these rocks that you buy for exterior decoration. You just, ask for the people who landscape, bring a few rocks. We want to show off our property. Sat can be a rock. Sat is quiet and regal in the form of a rock. Sat dances in the body of a peacock. Sat flies like a bird. Sat sleeps like a bear in winter. Sat roars like a lion. runs like a cheetah, jumps like a deer. And in the body of a human being, Sat complains like a jiva. Same Sat. Exactly same Sat. Then what's the difference? Why can't I be like the peacock? Why can't I be like a bird? Swamiji used to get letters. This was before the time of email and text and all these things. And one such letter read, Swamiji, I wish I was a bird. I could fly to Rishikesh to be with you. This is what the letter read. Swamiji dictated the reply. If you were a bird, then I won't be getting this letter from you. Yeah. So what's the difference between Sat as a bird and Sat as a human being? What's the difference? The difference is that in all other upadhis, Sat is there, and all other upadhis are programmed finite upadhis. Programmed upadhis to allow only this much Sat Chit Ananda, not everything. That's all. This much it will allow, not more, because the upadhi vashat, the limitations of the upadhi are as though taken on by the Sat, just like the limitations of the color are as though reflected by the crystal, without the crystal becoming finite. So the crystal doesn't become red, Sat does not become a dog, Sat does not become a worm, much less a human being. Sat is Sat, and then it is just reflected, so to speak, in so many upadhis. Upadhis means what? Buddhi, because that is the place of reflection. The place of reflection is called buddhi because the buddhi has a reflective surface, because it is made of the sattvic portion, amsha, of all the 5 elements. So it has the capacity to reflect. It has the capacity to reflect. And so therefore it is seen to reflect, as it were. I mean, there is no reflection really. So the buddhi, being the most subtle in the whole body, reflects the Sat. And this reflected consciousness, so to speak, is called Chidabhasa. Chit, Chidabhasa. Is Chidabhasa separate from Chit? Not at all. It's just like the aperture, a small little chink underneath the door is letting in the sunlight in the form of a sliver. That's what is the Chidabhasa. That's what it is. Is it separate? Is the sliver separate from sunlight? Not at all. So, upadhi vashat, because of the limitations of the upadhi, Sat shines or appears to shine differently. All the other beings than the human being are programmed to do something or the other, but generally speaking, programmed to recognize the same species for the sake of procreation, and they are programmed to recognize other species for the sake of self-preservation. That's all. That is just generally, that is the programming in the universe, and then this is what Bhagavan's plan. Bhagavan's plan for all these beings. That's why the universe is infallible. That's why there is no complaint of the dog being a dog. There is no complaint, unless of course it's sadly abused or something. Those are all, aberrations. Generally speaking, there is absolutely no complaint. Why? Because there is enough self-awareness to understand I am a dog. And this is how I behave. This is what I do. There is enough self-awareness to say, what should I say? To say, see the cat and say, this is something that should be chased. There is that much self-awareness. Similarly, the cat also sees the dog and hisses, who are you? I don't like you at all. And so, therefore, the same Sat in all bodies other than the human body is as though programmed because of the limitations of the upadhi, the name and the form and the shape and the size and the ability to lead their lives is limited to recognizing other species, recognizing their own species, recognizing what is food, recognizing what is not food. The cow, for example, is naturally vegetarian. You give it a piece of meat, it will not eat. It will not eat at all. And then still they tried to feed beef to the cow, and what happened? Mad cow disease. That's how the mad cow disease came about. This is very sad. But that's what it is. They will not swerve from their nature. In other words, in these upadhis, there is no free will. In the human upadhi, there is the gift of self-awareness. What kind of self-awareness? Uninhibited self-awareness. Sky is the limit. Uninhibited self-awareness gives rise to uninhibited ambitions and desires, which is wonderful. I can pursue everything. I can go abroad. I can go to some other country and stay. So says the human being and stands in line in the various consulates, American consulate, British consulate, everything for a visa. You will never see a dog standing in line, tired of India. I want to be a show dog in America. It doesn't say that. It's how you will not see a cow standing in line. Only human beings are standing in line. Sky is the limit. The desiring capacity is uninhibited. Self-awareness, uninhibited. Totally unprogrammed upadhi is this human being. Completely unprogrammed. Which is a blessing. I can pursue anything. I am free to do everything. But then, which is also a challenge. What is the challenge? I'm free enough to come to conclusions about myself that are not true. Not true at all. And what are the conclusions? Complaint. I'm not good enough. I'm lonely. Go be with people, but I don't like people. Okay, stop, get used to being alone, but I'm lonely. I hate my job. Okay, change the job. What do you mean change the job? Who's going to pay the bills? Look for something else. No, I can't handle the anxiety of looking for something else. Okay, make peace with your job. What do you mean? How can you say you are not in the job? That's why you're saying make peace with the job. How can I make peace with the job? And it goes on and on. If you don't like it, leave. I can't leave. Okay, somehow console yourself and get used to it. I can't get used to it. It's called the hot ghee syndrome. The person had some hot ghee in the mouth. Too expensive to spit out and too hot to swallow. This is the jiva. This is the jiva. This is the hot ghee syndrome. Can't spit it out, can't swallow it because already the tongue is burnt. I can't even feel my tongue. I don't want the same thing to happen to the throat. This is how betwixt and between. So the blessing is that of the ability to desire, including the desire to know the truth of myself and to gain the truth of myself. No dog has that ability, no cat has this ability, even though people convince me often, Swamini ji, oh, my pet is taking your class, online class. And they'll send a photo of dog in front of a laptop, poor dog, with my face on it, they will send. They will text me and say, here is my dog taking your class. Dog is there, why? Because you are there. Dog is not there because I am there. Dog is there because you are there. You get up and go, the dog will also follow you. Besides, dog doesn't need Vedanta, okay? You need Vedanta. Same thing I tell people who say, my teenage daughter or my teenage son or my young adult daughter or son is outlandish. You will not understand how terrible they are. And what, you have to teach. I want some Vedanta for children and teenagers. What is the answer? Vedanta is not for children or teenagers. Who is it for? You. So whoever says, teach my husband Vedanta, teach my wife Vedanta, teach my child or my grandchild Vedanta, I will say, you come first and study Vedanta. Why? Why should I study? Because then you will stop wanting other people to study Vedanta. That's why you have to study Vedanta. And so there is a blessing and then there is a challenge. The challenge is, what is the challenge? The challenge is, I'm free enough to come to all kinds of conclusions. I am unloved. Nobody cares. Nobody wants me. And every which way, emotionally, I'm lacking. I don't have the skills, I don't have the correct kind of emotions, I have always the wrong kind of emotions coming at the wrong time. And then I'm lacking emotionally. Physically also I'm lacking. Mental complex, dental complex, hand complex, foot complex, weight complex, color complex, height complex. It's a very complex matter, this body is. It's never the right weight, it's never the right height, it's never the right color. Always it is lacking. And then mentally also lacking. Especially if you're studying Vedanta. The other person, everything comes to their lips. How they are chanting everything. What about me? I don't even know the first line. What to talk of the whole chant? Lacking. Memory-wise, lacking. The only thing we can say about the mind is, never mind. That's the only thing to say. Mind-wise, lacking. Body-wise, lacking. Emotion-wise, lacking. Then, degree-wise, lacking. Because even if you have done your PhD, there will be somebody with one more PhD than what you have. Somebody came and said, please bless me, I'm about to do my 3rd PhD. I said, why? Because that just came out. I didn't intend to say why. Because there is already somebody with 2 PhDs and there is a sense of lack. I don't have what he or she has, so therefore I have to get what he has, what she has. And nobody respects me. That's the feeling. I lack in terms, that's one more lack. I lack in terms of respect. Everybody disrespects me. I lack, so therefore I have to make myself respectable by Googling my own name and then seeing what all is there. Oh, and then I Google somebody else's name. Oh, they have so many hits. I don't have enough. I have to make it up. What will you do to get respect? I will do this. I will do that. I will educate myself, or I will become very, very rich. Then perhaps people will respect me. So education-wise, lacking. Money-wise, of course, lacking. Financially, lacking. Pujya Swamiji used to say, I can make the richest person a pauper in 1 second. How? I'll ask them for a donation. What will they say? Swamiji, all my funds are tied up, I don't have. That means what? I lack. I lack, I lack, I lack, I lack, I lack. Financially, lacking. Qualification-wise, lacking. Fame-wise, lacking. There's always somebody more famous. Even if you're Elon Musk, one is still lacking. That's why he's behaving in the ways that he does. Lacking. Shows a certain restlessness. Shows a certain sense of lack. Fame-wise lacking. Yashas lacking. What else? The ability to produce something. Lacking. The ability to take care of something. Lacking. The ability to resolve something. Lacking. Strength. Lacking. How much you pump the iron? Not enough. You go to the gym, you eat there, sleep there, get up there and start doing again. All those various machines are there. Some you go like this, some you go like this, some you just go all kinds of things. And then there are weights. Some of the weights you can't even look at, much less lift. It will lift you. Those are the kinds of weights. But even though you have amassed a lot of strength, let's say you become an Olympic champion, weightlifter, and then what? You put a feather on that. The last straw that broke the back of the camel, there is a saying. There's only so much strength. Balam-wise lacking, yashas-wise lacking. In what other way lacking? And then samarthya lacking. What about jnanam, knowledge? Lacking, lacking, lacking. Knowledge-wise lacking. Shrihi. Shrihi means what? Wealth. We already discussed. Lacking. Aishwaryam, leadership, overlordship. There was one devotee of Puruṣo Swamiji who was a policeman. Unfortunately, even though he had a very nice family, even in the home he behaved like a policeman. As soon as his vehicle would be heard, the mother would whisper, "Daddy is coming, Daddy is coming." And the children, they would just hide in their rooms. She would also hide in her room. Only the dog with the tail wagging would be there to greet him. Lacking. Because that feeling of lack, that I have to control my own family, that is loving me. I have to control. I have to have something, I have to have that kind of an obedience. It's not enough to have that at work. I have to have it at home. Everybody should listen to me regardless. Lacking. In terms of parentage, lacking. I wish my mother was like this. I wish my father had been like this. I wish I had been born to a different family. Family is okay, parents are okay, but the brother and sisters, we could send them back to the hospital as soon as they were born. They should have been just farmed out. They are of no use. They should have been outsourced. This is the feeling. In terms of possessions, lacking. In every which way, the jiva looks at itself, it comes up short, comes up with lack, and a series of lacks leads to this lackluster life until this is recognized and transformed. This will be the case. That is why first we have to go back and see this not as a challenge. This means this upadhi, not as a challenge, but as a blessing. But as a blessing. Otherwise, one will always be in this roadblock, the constant roadblock of lack, and growing up, lack. And the current so-called nuclear family does not help. Now only mother, father, or some, caregiver, foster mother, foster father, whoever, and the child, children. That's all. Before it was a big unit. Before it was just a big unit. One did not grow up with so much of a sense of lack, really, honestly. Because for the child, if it was chided or rebuked by the father or the mother, there was always an uncle it could go to. There was always an aunt, a grandma, in whose lap the child would sit. Grandma is waiting for this kind of a thing. The child would complain, "Mummy scolded me." Yes, instant validation, instant therapy would take place. The grandma would say, grandma means father's mother. Yeah, she was waiting for this. She would say, "Yes, we all know how she is like." Child is, I'm not alone. Yes, it's not me. It's the mom that's crazy. Yes. And I'll tell you something else. The grandma continues, even her mother is like that. She gave us so much grief during the wedding. Yeah. Very demanding people. You are my baby. You are fine. You are so cute. You are perfect. You are wonderful. You are infallible. You see? Yeah. Some lap it could go to. In any part of the world, that is how it was. Families stayed together because they produced things together. They contributed together. There was always a lap for the child to go to. The child grew up. Of course, it grew up in ignorance. Of course, it grew up with some insecurity, but it was not as bad as it is now. With the parents having to work to keep up the house, to keep up with the bills, no other option. And the child being sent to, various KGs, lower KG. What else is there? Upper KG. And then regular KG. Pre-KG. That means the child is sent there before it weighs a kg. Yeah. And it's rationalized. By the whole society, it's rationalized. Everybody does that. And what do we say? Social skills. The child will have... What social skills? What social skills? Very strange. But anyhow, the child used to have a lap. Instant therapy. Instant love. Instant feeling of being wanted right then and there. Now the laps are fewer and farther between. And every lap has a laptop, not the child. Before, the child was the original laptop, okay? The laptop has replaced the child. So now we grow up unmoored, untethered. That feeling of lack never, ever, ever leaving. One grows up into an adult asking the same question all the time. Do you love me? And then suppose the person says yes. Then you have to ask, how much do you love me? How much did you miss me? How much do you love me? This becomes a constant question. Do you love me means what? Am I lovable? Do you find me lovable? Do you love me? This is a constant question. That's why even when the person comes to a guru, can I have a hug? Yeah, people come like that. Fortunately for me, there are gurus who only hug. Very nice. There are hugging gurus. Yes. Wonderful. I don't have to do that. Some other department. Very nice. The gurus have, division of labor, which is wonderful. All the teachers, Ācāryas have division of labor. Everybody is satisfied. Can I have a hug? Do you love me? I need to know I matter to you. Why? Why all this? because I suffer from a sense of longing. The sense of longing started as soon as the umbilical cord was cut, separated from the source, wriggling on a blanket, not even knowing how to turn over, helpless child, totally helpless, grows up unsure of itself, totally unsure of itself, insecure as a child, and more the insecurity grows until it becomes one's reality, until one thinks this insecurity is myself alone. This is how the child grows up. Insecure. So the prime occupation is what? To find some security somewhere, to hold on to something. The problem is, in this world of mithya, the mithya is what? Holding on to Sat. I hold on to mithya, and what am I? Still insecure. Mithya itself is dependent on something else. Therefore, there is anyonya ashraya, mutual dependency, codependency is there. Dysfunctionality is there in the way we lead our lives, in the way we love. I love you, therefore what? Sit down. I love you, therefore shut up. I love you, therefore listen to me. Our love, or rather its expression, is very conditional. Because we don't know that which we call Sat, that Sat which is all knowledge, Chit, that knowledge which is all love, Ananda. The dynamic form of Ananda is love. In fact, this is what the person thirsts for and longs for the most, is what one already is. So therefore, the whole world is mad after love. Love is equal to security, love is equal to happiness, love of money, love of knowledge, love of other people, love of validation, love of being wanted. And another one more love or lack. Lack means I'm not included. This is a very big red light for people. It's a red rag for people. I'm not included. They all made the decisions and I was left out. This is a very big core issue. The love to be included, the love to be the whole. Really, it is the love to be the whole. And in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the teaching is, you are the love that you seek. That is the teaching. Literally, that is the teaching. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. All the things that you love and want you want them to love you back. That is, both ways are there. All the things that you love and all the things you want to love you back is what? Is yourself alone. Yourself alone. Comes in the famous Yajnavalkya Maitreyi dialogue. Older married couple. Yajnavalkya is a jnani. He already knows all this. And Maitreyi is a jignasu, a mumukshu, a desirer of this knowledge which he himself has not recognized. He just sees her as a wife. And it's very easy to take the spouse for granted. You're just here. We just do things for each other to keep the house going. You cook, I clean, I do this. You do this, I take out the garbage. This is how we know each other. This is how Yajnavalkya also knew Maitreyi. And then one day he asks for her permission. What does he say? Ud aham yasyan. I'm pushing off. I'd like to push off from here. I'd like to drop the role of being a husband, drop the role of being a householder, a father. an owner of cattle and property and moving estate and unmoving real estate, all these things I would like to drop. Just be by myself in the forest, revel in what I know, do nididhyasana, contemplation for the rest of my life. Maitreyi says, not so fast. Not so fast. And he says, don't worry, you will be comfortable. I'm giving my wealth to you. She says, if that for which you are after, am I going to get my wealth? Being an honest, old-fashioned husband, he says no. Maybe a contemporary person would have said yes, yes, and gone away. But he says no. Wealth cannot give you moksha. Wealth cannot deny you moksha either. Wealth just will make your physical life comfortable, not your emotional life necessarily. Physically, your life will be comfortable. That's all it is. Wealth has nothing to do with moksha. One is based on acquisition, karma, the other is based on knowledge. The two are not the same. The knowledge is as though knowledge of knowing what you already are. The gain of wealth is the gain of something you don't have. There is a big difference. They have nothing to do with one another. That's why she says, since I am your other half, I too need this knowledge. Since the knowledge cannot be halved because it is one non-dual whole, you have to teach me the whole. How to teach you the whole without telling you you are the whole? So, Yajnavalkya settles down, does not go to the forest because he hasn't got permission to take sannyasa. Permission must be gained from the wife, the mother, and if there are dependent children from them, young children if they are there. You cannot just take off and leave. And so, honestly, he says, yes, this knowledge you need, this is the knowledge I'm going to teach you. How to know this Atma, I'm going to tell you. And then the teaching begins. Atma vai are. Are means honey. Oh, my dearest one, the Atma is to be understood. How? How to understand the Atma? Shravana, Shrotavyaha. One must listen to the pramana being operated by an Ācārya. Mantavyaha. One must clear all the doubts arising within. Nididhyasitavyaha. One must contemplate. If the Shravana alone is the sadhana for the knowledge, Manana and Nididhyasana are there if the Shravana is not enough, in the sense that I know I am the whole, but I am not behaving like Brahman. I still get angry. I still get upset. Then Nididhyasana is called for to remove certain remnant residual orientations. That is why Atma va are Shrotavyaha Mantavyaha Nididhyasi Tavyaha. This is what he says. And then she is just really stupefied. Is there such a knowledge? Oh my God, I didn't know this. And then he says that a husband, since it's a conversation between a husband and wife, this is a very relevant example. He gives the example, the husband does not love the wife for her own sake. Oh, why does he love the wife? For his own sake. Not for her sake. His own sake. Nava are patyuhu kamaya patihi priyo bhavati atmanastu kamaya patif priyo bhavati nava are jayayai kamaya jaya priya bhavati atmanastu kamaya jaya priya bhavati. The wife also loved him. He's being a fair man, he puts it the other way also. The wife also does not love the husband for her own sake, for his own sake. What does he represent? That she loves. He represents companionship. He represents a kind of a security. That is what she loves. The husband also loves. That is what he loves. He loves the companionship. He loves the validation that the wife gives, the spouse gives. He loves the security. So this is what the partnership is all about. It is really love of the self that leads one to enter into a partnership with another. In the other person, you seek yourself. You seek yourself means what? You seek to fulfill yourself. How? We'll find out tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.